Okay, so now we will do the visual test of a fabric sample. So in this visual test, we actually test their different properties, like we check their flexibility, their compressibility, their extensibility, their resiliency, their surface contour, and their surface friction. Okay, and you can see for each of the testing, we have a rating. For example, for flexibility, the rating will be 1 if the sample is pliable, and the rating will be 5 if the sample is rigid. Or you can have rating in between from 1 to 5, any number, for example 3 or 4. Like this week, for compressibility, for rating 1 will be for soft fabric, and if the fabric is very stiff, we have to give rating 4. Okay, now I will show you how we can test this fabric sample. For example, this is a fabric sample. Okay, so first I will check its flexibility. Is it pliable or is it rigid? Okay, so like for rigidity or pliability test, we can take the fabric sample and just we can do a little bit bending of the fabric sample. So what do you think? Is it very rigid, or like a metal, or any kind of brick, or it is flexible? So in my opinion, it looks like it's a kind of flexible. It's not too much rigid. Okay, so if it is kind of flexible, then, or pliable, then we can give rating 1 or 2 or 3, but it should not have rating 5, right? It's not too much rigid sample, right? But if I give you a metal plate and then if I ask you for the rating, you should tell its rating should be 5, because this is very rigid. Okay, so thus we'll check the flexibility. Now we'll check the compressibility, the softness or the stiffness. Okay, so for compressibility, we can press the sample using our 2 fingers, right? So we can just press. Okay, what do you think? Is it compressible or it is very stiff? So it's not like a metal, it's not too much stiff, right? We can compress it, right? So if it is compressible, so that means it is soft. So in that case we can give, but it's not super soft like a cotton fiber, right? So the softness level should not be 1, it can be 2 or 3, right? If it is super soft like a soft fiber, then we can give the rating 1. So the rating could be 2 or 3, but it should not be rating 5. It's not too stiff. Okay, then we'll check the extensibility of the fabric sample. So we need to stretch the fabric, right? So we can stretch it in the both direction. Okay, what do you think? Can we extend it too much? Can we increase the length or the width? So yeah, we can increase a little bit, but it is not too much stretchy as like the rubber, right? If we have a rubber, we can make the length double by stretching it, but it's not like too much stretchable as like the rubber. Okay, so the rating for this extensibility should not be 1. One should be for a rubber, like it is too much stretchy, but it should not be again 5. It's not stretchy at all. So the rating could be in between 3 or 4 or maybe 2 or 3. It's up to you. Okay, so now we will check the resiliency. So resiliency means, can we, if I apply the force, if we do the crease and then if we make it flat, do we have any crease mark on top of the fabric? Okay, if we have any crease mark, if we have lot of crease mark, okay, lot of crease mark, then the rating will be 5, very creased. But if the fabric is totally non-creased, after that we don't see any crease mark, then the rating will be 1. But in that fabric, what do you think? Can you see any crease? Yes, we can see crease, but I think we don't have lot of crease in throughout all the surfaces, right? So the rating should not be 5, the rating should not be 1. So it can be in between, like it can be 2 or 3. It is up to you. So like this you can decide. Okay, now we will check the surface contour. Okay, for surface contour we will check, is the sample has rough surface or smooth surface. For that we need to take the hand feel. So smoothly we can, or slowly we can mount our hand on top of the fabric sample, and then we can check the surface. Is it super rough or is it very smooth? So you can feel it. Okay, so I think it is not super rough and not super smooth. Okay, so if it is super rough, very rough, then you can rate 1, or if it is very smooth you can rate 5, or if you think it is like in between, it's not too rough, it's not too smooth, so you can do rating 2, 3, or whatever you want. Okay, so now the surface friction. So in this case of surface friction, we check is the sample is harsh or it is slippery. Okay, so again you need to take the hand feel, and then you have to feel is it super harsh or it is slippery. Okay, so slippery means like it will slip from your hand. So if I take my hand, it's not too much slippery, right? This is sliding but it's not slippery. But there are some fabric sample, if I keep my hand like this, it will fall down, so it might be super slippery. So this sample is not super slippery, but still it is not super harsh. So the rating could be in between anything like 2 or 3. It's up to you. So like this you have to do all the rating here. You have to fill out this chart. Okay, so here you can see for first fiber, for whatever the fiber, you have to do the rating here. So like flexibility, what do you think the rating? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever you find, you just write down the number here, and then you have to give a verbal description according to your own word. Okay, so you can tell this the rating is 3, and you can, in the verbal description, you can write the sample is not too pliable, not too rigid. It's like moderate, pliable and rigid. You can write down the verbal description here. So like this, the compressibility rating, you have to do the rating here, and then you have to write the verbal description, and then you have to fill out all the things here. Okay, so like this we will complete the visual test, and you have to do for all the fibers. Like when you will do the test for cotton, you have to take the cotton fiber and then you have to do the rating. Then we have other fibers like flax, then we have jute, so you have to take individual fibers and then we have to give their rating, and then we have to write down their verbal description, and finally we have a portion report the result. So here you have to give a summary of this visual test. So you can compare these 3 fibers. So we have cotton, flax, and jute. So right, you can write a summary of your whole result like in 2 or 3 sentences. So you can write down, I found cotton is like soft and compressible compared to flax or jute. And so you can just compare in between 3 fibers and write down your own summary in your own words. Okay, so you have to write down here we have some marks here. Okay, don't keep it blank. Okay, and now the visual test assignment portion will be completed. Okay, thank you.